Here are 5 stupid things I've noticed since last time. Pat Robertson thinks he can raise the dead. About a week and a half ago on the 700 Club, Pat Robertson claimed that modern Christians have the same power that Jesus supposedly had to raise the dead. It's just that Christians today aren't glorifying God nearly enough to be able to actually use that power. So miracle working is like a really nice car that God owns but is willing to let us borrow, provided that we really grovel and kiss his ass first. If that's true, and obviously it's not, and Pat Robertson is a sad and deluded old man, but just work with me here. If that's true, that's just more evidence for what a massive dickbag God is. Because he hasn't let anybody borrow the keys to that fucker in like 2,000 years. Christian apologist invokes states' rights in opposing same-sex marriage. Frank Turek, who some of you may remember as the co-author of a book I reviewed in one of my An Atheist Read series, appeared recently on the American Family Association's Today's Issues radio show, where he suggested that state governors should disregard federal court rulings in favor of same-sex marriage, just as southern states rebelled against federal authority during the American Civil War, standing up for states' rights and defending the institution of slavery. Turek's defense of quote-unquote traditional marriage here is just as ignorant and misguided as his defenses of Christianity, but at least he admitted, probably inadvertently, that the term states' rights is just a code word for white supremacy, which many of us knew already, but it's always nice to hear one of you actually say it, so thanks, Frank. James O'Keefe, still doing things, still an idiot. Remember this asshole? Just in case you don't, that is right-wing activist, filmmaker, and self-proclaimed muckraker James O'Keefe. He's in the news this time for attempting, unsuccessfully it is reported, to bait campaign staffers of Democratic Senator Mark Udall into using mail-in ballots to commit voter fraud. Yes, because who better to prove that liberals are corrupt and unprincipled, which is essentially O'Keefe's thesis, than a twerp who covertly videotapes himself trying and failing to induce them to do something unethical. U.S. rated 20th in world in gender equality. The World Economic Forum released its 2014 report on the global gender gap last week, and the United States ranked 20th overall, behind such countries as Nicaragua, Burundi, and Rwanda. Now, it's not all bad news. We finished ahead of both the UK and Australia, so take that, people who speak English differently than we do, and we were a mere 10,000th of a point behind Canada. So don't you puck chasers go getting cocky either, eh? And in several categories, including literacy rate and enrollment in secondary and post-secondary education, we finished first. We didn't do as well in many political or economic categories, however, finishing near the middle of the pack in terms of wage equality and number of women in our legislature. So, despite the fact that the United States is far from the worst place in the world to be a woman, according to this report that would be Yemen, we still have a lot of room for improvement. And while I'm on that subject, catcalling. The two-headed creature. Last week, a video depicting the street harassment endured by one woman walking through New York City during the course of a single day went viral. The video, and the reaction to it by many, serve to illustrate the dual nature of the street harassment problem. First, there's the harassment itself. People, mostly men, feeling entitled to hit on fellow pedestrians, mostly women. Second, there is the denial by others, again mostly men, that a problem even exists. Because, hey, what does she expect? She's a good-looking girl. She has a nice body. People are just being nice to her, wanting to talk to her, saying hello. She just needs to learn how to take a compliment. Am I right? No, rhetorical device version of me. You are wrong. Street harassment makes women feel uncomfortable and threatened just for being out in public, which is something that most of them are neither inclined nor able to just stop doing. And the minimization and tolerance of it is what allows it to continue to happen. So those of us who do it should knock it off, and those of us who defend it and put up with it should stop defending and putting up with it. Why the fuck do we even have to argue about this? The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.